They can get us on Facebook on Sacred Knowledge Energy Tools if they type that in, or if they type in Tensor Rings on the internet, we'll come up, it will be top of the list if they type that into Google. So Sacred Knowledge Energy Tools on Facebook, or even if you Google that, you'll find us. Probably the easiest way, we're in the process of a web page getting constructed, but or they can contact us, Sacred Knowledge 2015 at hotmail.com.
Yeah, got it. Card, yeah. Okay, so look, as I said, I don't want to wind it up, but here's some things to ponder. We're led to believe that we live on a globe and that there is a pole running through it at a tilt of 23.4 degrees. If you take 23 from 90, 23.4, you're left with 66.6. The second part of that is if we're not rotating and there isn't any gravity, because of course centrifugal is forcing away, not pulling you to a mass, which is peculiar for scientists to work out their ideas. But here's my issue or point. On a flat Earth world, Mount Meru is the North Pole, and that all persons on the outside of the flat ring is south, and east and west is relative to where the sun is coming up and or setting. So all the planets come from the east and set in the west. But the magnetism of the Earth in a flat realm is the opposite of how a speaker works. A speaker has a central south pole and an outer ring north pole, and that's how it makes its oscillations to create sound through air. And so what I'm suggesting, because I also noticed in that flat, the one with the radius circle.
No, we haven't talked about that.
Okay, well, we'll come back to that in a second though. But what I'm sharing with you is, I'm sort of dropping a seed, a thought seed we usually call it, that you might find an experiment or something to do with this idea of a flat...
Don't worry, it's already been suggested, the whole flat Earth theory with me. So I've already come across it.
Yeah, good. But what I'm essentially saying is that something's going to come up. Like, for instance, we can't see, the audience won't see, but there's a spider's web art piece there, and it's phi ratio coming out from a central point, but it's essentially a flat plane.
Yeah, I have made one of those.
Okay, good.
It's called the Star Burst Harmonizer.
Well, how intuitive of me to get into your darker
There's not many people have got them yet. I think Neil's got one from Nate Mack's project. And I'm reading here Starseed, and I'm talking about Starburst. It's basically, I should have brought it in with me. It's a harmonizer that instead of being rings like this, it's triangles.
Okay.
So it's pushing the energy out to the points. So basically, the energy's pushing off those points and going outwards, as well as up and down.
Well, I think you and I will have many a chat in the future. I certainly didn't expect. One of the things that I found at the gig the other night is, and this is the criticism, it's a case that it wasn't really properly planned, as in bells ringing, 5-minute warning, you're wrong.
Yeah.
They know that, I've said that. But more to the point is, I had to meet you. Everyone else is doing their own thing, and I'll meet them in due course. I think Stephen's another important person because I'm interested to see why, even though he's just doing the Orgonite by itself.
He does play a little bit with Tensor Rings, but not much. Mostly the Orgonite. He uses them in his Orgonite mainly.
Well, the point is, it doesn't. It's an effective
Absolutely.
base product.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And inexpensive, by the way. 3 for $25. Like, I use one on my phone. I've never had such clarity with the damn phone. Phew. Anyway, hopefully we'll meet in the future. I'll look you up when I'm getting down to Victoria.
Yeah. Very good.
Is there anything you want to maybe leave with a final message or something like that?
Well, look, I guess, check out some of the videos that we've done on the strength test, and there's some new ones coming up which you haven't seen yet, which we actually only did out at Nimbin the other day, where I had a fellow who was a personal trainer here in Byron, actually, who I tested these new pendants out that have the Lacoste coil or the multi-wave oscillator inside them. This is a new experimental device that I sort of stumbled across, and we only managed to get 70 of them, so I've incorporated them into the Tensor rings, and they a powerful thing. Let me tell you.
So,
increase in strength and balance is through the roof. Yeah.
Let's just say, I didn't notice you had any bigger devices than this particular.
I do have, but plane-wise, having to travel and...
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the other point. You mentioned there the Nubian, that's the Nubian pyramid shape.
New Giza I call it.
Well, Nubia's in the Sudan.
That's right.
Ish. And there's two sets of these elongated or highly angled pyramids. One's called the Meroitic pyramids, and the other one's the Meroe, M-E-R-O-E.
So which one's the one done to the
frequency?
The scale,
I can't tell you. But what I can tell you is this. After studying this stuff with many folk, I've developed a simple one-line saying. If you haven't got a mountain or a volcano to worship, you'd better build a pyramid. And the reason is because the Vedic cosmology, which I study, Vedic Sanskrit-based logics and sciences, they have a cosmological mountain called Mount Meru, and it now is seemingly our North Pole, and in its oscillations, it changes the amount of facets you see. Some people only see 4, and it can go from an inverted pyramid, like that, into the sky. It's all out of bounds anyway, because no one goes to the North Pole without a permit, or a that good ship. And planes are expensive to just rent one, you know what I mean? So the persons that could carry out experiments don't, and the people who wish they could can't. So let's just say this, that every culture in the world has a Meru. At Mount Kilimanjaro there's Mount Meru. At Mount Kenya there is Meru and Little Meru. Mount Moriah, which is the Dome of the Rock, that's a perversion of Meru. And then you've got Merapi in Indonesia, and it goes on and on and on. So the Meru, it's called the Meru Dunda. And Dunda in Sanskrit means stick, a pole.
Okay.
Right?
Sounds like
So-
an antenna to me.
Indeed, but the point I'm sharing with you is where on earth did the white man, because the other guys didn't invent that word, where did they get the idea of pole? Well, the pole's a stick, an axis, an axle.
Yeah.
So all I'm sharing with you is it's going to come out short in due course of time. Now, the geometry of Mount Meru in a device is what's called the Sri Yantra. So the Sri Yantra is the, what's the right word? The blueprint of this cell, Om. So Om, A-U-N-M. If you notice about the Sri Yantra, if you know which shape it is, it's the A is the 16, I'm pretty sure it's this way around. A is the 16 lotus petals geometry, then the U is the 8 inner circle, and the harmony of M harmonising. That's on in a geometry. Now, in a 3D geometry, that becomes a Sri Yantra pyramid.
Okay.
And the best way you can worship that, you have to actually install them. And that's something that you might be interested to understand, installation of these things. Because these sorts of devices carry so much energy, they're actually almost worshipable. In fact, they shouldn't be neglected. They should have attention. Ever so subtle. Attention. I hope I don't get too much off the track. In India they have a Shiva Lingam.
Yes, I know those.
And it's around a yoni.
Yep.
So it's got an opening, and when you worship this device, there's water in the yoni, and sometimes hibiscus flowers or petals, which have their bark effect, bark flowers, which is energetic. And what you do is you get this little spoon of water and put it on the top of the phallus, and it just cools the phallus part of it down. So you could have an egg-like stone, like in the Temple of Doom movies.
Yes,
And those stones.
Yeah. I've got some Shiva Lingams at home.
Okay, but instead of putting the lingam, you could put the 3D, I call it the 3D Sri Yantra. And worship that, or pay attention to that. Some people don't like the word worship, but I am using specific Sanskrit-based terminology, and that's based in consciousness. But the last thing, go on. What are you looking at?
I was going to say, so where does the vesica piscis fit into that?
Well, that's the vulva.
Vesica, so that is, but put that into a 3D form, and then we've got the Shiva Lingam.
Certainly. I hear you. So just to wind this right up, Mount Warning is the lingam, the caldera is the yoni, and the Tweed River enters the coast at northeast. That's why everyone comes here. That's the biggest Meru generator, Shiva Lingam.
I don't know where this Mount Meru is, but...
Meru technically is a mountain in India. But in a cosmological sense.
So is Mount Warning the one you're referring to here?
Of course, that's cloud catcher, right?
Cloud catcher. Cloud catcher, interesting.
So when Wollomban. So also the first part of the sun that touches the east coast of Australia touches the very top of the phallus and runs down till it hits the coast. So that's the god of the sun, and we've got the god of the wind, and of course it generates water, captures the clouds. And that particular place there is the reason, the whole energetic field of Byron exists, or Mullen, or Nimbin.
Well, that's it. I was just bringing me to the two mountain peaks at Nimbin, the rock just straight up, jutting straight up. I don't know what the name of it is, but they caught my attention yesterday. I stopped and took photos of them.
Well, if you and your partner get to come up here again, which I'd imagine you will, this is the happening place. But there's people waking up everywhere anyway.
Yeah,
so
true.
There's a new clientele or a new series of students to share with. I feel that you and I need to chat some more.
For sure.
Thank you for that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say at this point in time, just wrap it up. Leave those little floaty ideas for the audience. I'm not giving everything away immediately. But I will say to you that this is the most spiritually active place, and the reason that I'm particularly interested is that I don't like the amount of chemtrails they do here. It is horrid, right? And I can sense it. So I do time lapse of the sky, and just seeing some pretty weird phenomena.
Yeah, well, I've already given away one harmonizer to go to this area. I donated one today, and I mean, I want these things out there. I mean, we give a lot away too. I mean, we do have to live, and unfortunately we're still under the monetary rule, but I mean, we try and give away a lot of us, we give away a lot of stuff, and that is for the benefit of everyone, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. That's primarily what it's all about, you know. It's about making a change. We're talking. I mean, I network with people all over the world, and the same thing's happening everywhere. It doesn't matter whether they're in Sweden, whether they're in the States, whether they're in Canada. You know, whatever's happening here is happening there, and almost on the same day.
Well, what gets me is how many tight-lipped technicians and professionals and logisticians it must take to run the chemtrail program in any country.
Unbelievable.
And I once said this to Kim Beazley when he was the opposition leader. And John Howard had this incredible idea that it was going to create a coast guard for Australia. And I simply said, we occupy 10% of the Earth's surface, and we've only got 25 million people. And yet the population of the world is 7 billion, or 6 at the time. How are we supposed to afford patrolling that amount of space, or that amount of area? So, how do a handful, 25 million people who live on the coasts of this continent,
Majority, yeah.
right? How do we combat this chemtrail stuff, and how does government get away with making it all happen? Someone's paying their wages.
Harmonisers. First of all, knocking out all the towers within the area by gifting, by throwing Orgonite underneath the towers, because
And it doesn't
that
affect
changes
their
the
fields
energy.
or anything like that.
No, just restructures it. It turns it into a basically a big orgone generator. So it transforms the
I know
energy.
what you're saying. It's like Aikido. Aikido is the martial art where you use the person's energy and strength against it.
Like I did when I was in judo, same deal.
Okay.
Yeah. A little person this big and throw a monstrous person just by using their own weight against them. Yeah, exactly the same thing. So all it does is it sort of turns it 180 degrees and throws it out as a different energy at the other end. Yeah, so it changes it, and you can put Orgonite under a tower on a cloudy, overcast day and sit back from a distance and watch for about 20 minutes and see the hole start to open up above the tower, you know. But
I will say one thing to you, by the way. Most people think about the geoengineering, the weather modification, etc. As it happened, it was done by the Russians for their military parade because it's always overcast. But actually, you know, the Beatles were involved as well.
Oh, really?
Well, they had a song called Let the Sun Shine In. And they made those clouds open up on the day that they released the record.
Okay.
They used weather modification for the promotion of their song. Most people wouldn't know that.
There was something just released, actually, some new documentary thing on 8 days a week or something by the Beatles. It's just being released at the moment. I read, so it's interesting. I don't know what it's about, but I got links sent to me, so it must have some spiritual significance. That's
Or George Harrison was the quiet Hare Krishna. Rod Bradshaw, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, yeah, absolutely.
Good on you.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Pretty easy, wasn't it?